Hey, what's going on, guys? Crobat for the win. Danza here today with,
Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Dan, aka aDrive.
and I will be doing another round of coach interviews today. Dan, I appreciate you being able to take the time out of your busy schedule to do this today. Okay, we're gonna start really easy. I'm sure many of your fans are wondering, how many shiny Pokemon do you have?
Oh my god, how many shiny Pokemon do I have? A lot. I think if you take my X and Y numbers and my ORAS numbers and put them together, we're around 170 maybe. Legit shinies, but in just Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire since its release, I'm about just under 80, I believe, on my road to 100.
Oh, not bad. Hmm. Say, if you're interested in shiny Pokemon, he's your guy.
I'm the guy. I am the I guess self-proclaimed, and also other people have called me the Shiny King. Some people hate me for saying that, but I don't care. I
Yeah,
find
I mean, I guess
shinies.
there aren't too
So
many other shiny people on YouTube or people who hunt shinies, so there you go.
there's more and more are coming out, and I think it's cool. It's an interesting community, but one of the cool things that I like about being in the GBA is it gives people a chance to see my battling side of things. And I am very into competitive Pokemon battling, and I've done so for about 4 or 5 years now. So I kind of get to step away from the shiny hunting and the little bit of negative connotation that comes from that, and I get to do some battles in the GBA. So it's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
definitely, definitely. So let's move on to GBA discussion. Obviously, inevitable question to start. How are you feeling knowing that the GBA has returned after the total catastrophe that occurred last season?
So I was new to the GBA last season, so it was a new experience for me, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the format, and I liked a lot of the people in the GBA. There was a select group of people that I wasn't exactly, best friends with, but unfortunately, there was a little bit of a player strike, I guess, that kind of went down, and I think me and Shady Penguin have, most of the blame could fall on us for trying to trade Mamoswine for Espeon, which really brought the GBA to shambles, truthfully. I'm kind of kidding, but it's also kind of funny. But
Hmm.
I'm glad it's back. I was part of the. I'm not going to take nearly the credit that John and Steve and some other guys deserve, but I was definitely part of the kind of the revamp of the GBA, and I was part of those initial discussions of bringing it back. And I'm very thankful to have an opportunity to play in the GBA. One, because I think it's a great format, and two, I think that the group of guys we have now. And this isn't bashing on a lot of the people that left because there were a lot of cool guys that left too. But the group of guys we have now, I think, is a fantastic bunch of people, and I'm very excited to play out this season, win or lose, and have some fun because, like I said, I think we have a great 12 guys right now, and the staff and the writers and everything is just coming together, and I think it's really cool for the league as a whole. So I'm very excited about the GBA right now. It's
Uh,
definitely towards the top of my priority of content focus.
Definitely, definitely. It's been an overwhelming amount, or there's been an overwhelming amount of support for the new guys in the league this year. No one has said that they didn't get along with anyone. It's all been positivity among the 12 guys so far, from what I've been able to see and from what everyone's been saying in these interviews. So that's certainly a huge improvement over last season.
Yeah, no, and like you said, I mean, everyone is getting along. It's a it's a great bunch of people. I'm very excited. From everyone to Old Man Tup to Crimson to I mean, there's everyone is great. Geo, I mean, it's a great group of people, and big props to the guys in the GBA and everyone who contributed to get to this point to help us find the right people, for the league because that was a very painstaking process, which I gave my input very little, but still. That was quite a tough decision with so many content providers out there and so many good talents. It could be tough to find the right guys, but I think we did it. So
Mm. So certainly, and I think the fans are pretty much in agreement because the amount of growth on the channel, the amount of growth among the Twitter, just everyone in general has been huge the past few weeks.
yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You got guys. Some of the bigger guys came back. We got a lot of new guys coming in. I think it's a good formula. I think it's a really good formula, and I think just the atmosphere alone is motivating people to be more willing to push the GBA, and be more out with it and talk about it more and have it be more relevant as opposed to before, where if you're only kind of half into it, and understandably so, then you're going to be less likely to really want to push it and really want to make the GBA something more than it already is. So I think I really think it comes down to the group of guys we have, and I think we did a good job with that. Lots of awesome people and lots of awesome talent. So should be fun. I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited.
That's awesome, awesome. So now that you have a fresh start, what do you think is the most exciting part of the new format?
So I think the draft that was the draft format that was written up and the rules that we followed for our draft format was absolutely phenomenal. When we opened up the initial discussions on how we were going to go about drafting and how we wanted to create a new format, there was a lot of pulling opinions between the small group of people that we had on this little council, and there was a couple pretty key decisions that we had to make, in terms of contract length and whether we wanted to preserve Pokemon. And I was in favor of trying to keep some sort of a contract structure in, which we do have. But I also really wanted to push and emphasize the fact that I didn't want the draft with only 12 teams to be full of me just playing an OU match. I wanted to emphasize the fact that the lower tiers should be represented in this as well, because you really end up with some gems, and I think you get some exciting matches. So we were able to kind of fit that philosophy into the drafting format, which I think made it really cool. We forced teams essentially to draft at least one, NU Pokemon and so on and so forth. And like my team ended up with 3 NU Pokemon because the way I drafted. So I think the new format, the GBA drafting strategy, and it's fantastic. I think we actually hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any huge holes. You could argue a few Pokemon here and there on which tier they should have been classified as, but I think generally speaking, looking at all the teams after the fact, there are some outliers, but I would say for the most part, it's going to be a pretty fair match going into each week, and the teams are really going to have to, it's going to come down to the preparation and the player themselves,
Yeah,
which is what it should be.
definitely. And I like that you're basically encouraging teams to find the best NU-ish, RU-ish Pokemon that can still compete in a fast-paced environment like the GBA, certainly. Like a Nidoqueen, for example, on your team. That's certainly, it can be used in OU as well, through all the tiers, really. Just not NU because it's banned there, but that's one of those mons that can really be used anywhere. And
I think
that's
I
why
got a steal with
that and
Nidoqueen.
Nidoking are very effective in the GBA.
Yeah, that was a steal. We could talk about that later, but Nidoqueen was a steal. I have very good hopes or very high hopes for Nidoqueen.
Certainly. All right, well, let's get into your draft a little bit. You got Mega Sableye and Chansey for your core. Were you trying to get such a good core going into the draft?
So my initial draft strategy, and maybe it was a bit optimistic of me to go into the GBA draft, thinking this was a possibility, but my initial on paper draft strategy was to get Mega Venusaur and Heatran. Obviously, both those picks were picked before I could even draft, so those were out the window. I wasn't going to get both of them. My initial plan was to get Mega Venusaur. My backup plan was to go with Mega Altaria, and both of those were out the window before it even got to me. So to answer your question, my intentions of drafting Mega Sableye and Chansey were not anything that came into my mind until about 3 rounds in. I drafted Terrakion in the first round solely based on its past GBA performance. I've never used Terrakion before. I like its base stats. It's got good stab moves. And, at the time of drafting, I had never used it. But history tends to repeat itself, and Terrakion has the most kills in the GBA history. So I said, you know what? There's nothing else on the board I really want. I'm going to grab Terrakion. I don't want any of these Megas right now. I'm going to hold off because there was still a chance for me to go Mega Swampert or Politoed. There was a chance for me to go, really anything. I wanted Mega Beedrill. That was another thing I was looking at for a while. I was thinking maybe Mega Beedrill. Maybe I'll go Sticky Web and try to get Mega Heracross. So I had a couple different ideas after my first initial plan was spoiled. But Mega Sableye and Chansey didn't come into fruition until I would say about the 3rd round is when I looked at it and I said, that's what I want. I need to start making moves to get Mega Sableye and Chansey. And I need to do it fast because they're going to go, and I don't want to lose this core because this could be, very, very valuable.
Yeah, Lord knows Cooper probably would have taken at least one of them.
And I think he grabbed Blissey.
Yeah.
So I took a very big gamble at that point in the draft, and I was looking at the draft. I saw Chansey and Blissey, and I saw Mega Sableye still sitting there. I believe this is for 5th round. And I wrote down everyone's name who was going to draft after me to see if I could get both Sableye and Chansey. And if I needed to draft Sableye first or if I needed to draft Chansey first. And I believe only Geo and Cooper needed to draft their Megas in between my pick. And I said, you know what? I can't chance Mega Sableye going. I need to grab it. If Chansey and Blissey are gone, then they're gone. So it worked out that I got Mega Sableye. Blissey was drafted, which I probably would have taken Blissey, but I got Chansey. It's a little bit higher point total, but I got Chansey, and I'm very happy with that defensive core.
Well, certainly, it's a threatening one for sure. Just looking at it, fighting type moves aimed at Chansey go right through Mega Sableye. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's except for Lopunny, but I don't believe I play Lopunny this season, so not too concerned about that.
Yeah, and even if you did play Lopunny, you still got Mew, so...
This is true, and I think that was the best 2nd round pick in the GBA.
Let's see.
Easy.
I'll take a look at the list and I'll let you know what I think.
I think Mew could have been a first rounder easily. I don't think you can argue that it's at least in the top couple most versatile
I
picks.
personally like the Mew pick. I loved using Mew last season. It's an excellent Pokemon because of its extreme versatility. You can do anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a Pokemon that a team cannot prepare for. You cannot prepare for Mew. I could run Swords Dance. I could run Nasty Plot. I can run Dual Screens. I can run, a coverage set. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And believe me, I am trying everything right now on Showdown.
Hmm.
So it's been fun. I'm really excited to use Mew, and I think it doesn't necessarily mesh with my team per se, but I think because it's so versatile, it can fit in pretty much anywhere. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy with Mew.
I'd really like to see you use Hone Claws, Zap Cannon, Dynamic Punch, and maybe throw Sucker Punch on there as well.
Maybe if I feel really good about my matchup, I'll think
I
about it.
was gonna use that against Steve in season 3 because he had all the dark types and the one he also had a few electric type weaknesses, Gyarados for example. That's what I was gonna use.
That would be fun. I'd have to see what Home Claws boost accuracy to, but
Accuracy and attack, yeah. So
oh
you
my
could
God,
use Zap Cannon and Dynamic Punch effectively.
that's interesting.
It's just an
I'll have to
idea, throw it out there, just for the
watch me run that week one, and Crimson ends up getting destroyed because of it, and he'll come back to this interview and blame you.
Oh my lord, that would be
That's
just
funny.
awful. I
That's
would
funny.
maybe use it week 2 then because I don't want to be blamed for anything.
That's all right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's a lot of opportunities with Mew, and I kind of thought as a second pick, like Terrakion has a nice, let's say dark bait because it gets an attack boost for getting hit by dark types. So you want to knock off my Mew, catch this Terrakion, +1 attack. So that
Hmm.
was kind of my thought process there.
Yeah, and if we were to go back to my season 3, that's what I went for when I got Cobalion because and you got pretty much the same thing with Terrakion.
Yeah. So that was
That's a
kind of
good
where I
strategy.
drafted. I drafted Terrakion because of its power. Then I drafted Mew because of its versatility, and I figured I made a mistake last season in not having enough defog support, enough rapid spin support to support Mega Charizard Y. I was kind of limited because I was in the expansion teams, but this year I wanted to make sure I had something that was very, very good to defog, and I got just that in Mew, and that kind of led me to my next pick, Volcarona.
Hmm. Oh, certainly. Uh, so, yeah, I know you seem pretty excited to talk about Nidoqueen. I know there were some critics out there that said, "Oh, it wasn't a good pick," or "You should have picked Nidoking," or how do you justify Nidoqueen?
It's for me, it's a very easy justification. I made it very, very clear in my my drafting interview, talking about how I wanted bulk. I believe, me personally, from my 5 games of GBA experience, which isn't a lot, but I believe that bulk is very important. Being able to switch in to different Pokemon, being able to take hits, that stands out to me as being a very, very important piece of GBA battling. It kind of takes a little bit of the prediction out of the way. People are going to run counter sets, so having a Pokemon that's going to die in one hit doesn't do anything for me because I can prepare all day, but if my Pokemon's frail, I don't really like glass cannons a lot. So I went with Nidoqueen, mostly for the bulk, but my thought process was what I needed to do is stop fairy types. What I needed to do is hit things relatively hard with Sheer Force, and it does both of those things. And it also accomplishes a lot of bulk. So now you look at my team and you see, okay, Mega Sableye, Chansey, Rotom Wash, Nidoqueen, Gorgeist, and even Mew. And then you could even throw Slurpuff in there, and that is a heck of a lot of walls. And I can wall any type of, in any situation, any matchup I have, I can create my wall core to kind of tailor to that. And I think Nidoqueen was kind of that missing piece, and I held out for it for a long, long time in the draft because I felt if I didn't get Nidoqueen, I'd get Nidoking. But Nidoqueen was at the top of my list for that reason. Just the bulk, being able to take a hit, I think is very important. And Nidoking isn't like frail by any means, but I felt like that extra bulk was worth the trade off for the extra power, considering I know most of my power on my team is going to come from setting up. It's going to come from Terrakion. It's going to come from Volcarona, and it's going to come from setting up. Like I said, I mean that's my team isn't going to destroy any walls without boosts. That's really the nature, except for Terrakion. But so I'm aware of that at this point, and that's fine. I think my walls and my team support allows for me to be able to get in something and get up a Quiver Dance or get up a Swords Dance or something like that.
Mm. No, certainly, and there are a few perks to using Nidoqueen beyond that. I think Nidoqueen gets superpower, whereas Nidoking does not. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm actually not sure. I haven't really explored, in all honesty, the physical options of Nidoqueen just yet. Still kind of working out some of my special sets, but
Mhm.
I could check that now.
I could definitely see you running some physical Nidoqueen some weeks, or
Yeah.
mixed Nidoqueen, because it still gets the elemental punches and sheer force.
Yes. So it does
I
get
could see that happen.
superpower. So I know that. It definitely gets superpower.
And the nice thing about Nidoqueen is I like Nidoqueen overall. I've used it a lot in standard before. You can run mixed, you can run physical if you wanted, you could run special, you could run defensive, you could run specially defensive. You could even, if you really wanted, you could run a scarf set. It will be a bit of a slower scarf, but it would be an unexpected scarf. And in the GBA, that would be really good.
Yeah, no, especially with moves like, Sludge Wave and its coverage is ridiculous. I mean, this thing is good. This thing is good. It does look like Nidoking does actually get superpower as well, but
It does.
regardless, I mean, just looking at their defense stats, you're looking at, 81, 77, 75 versus Nidoqueen's 90, 87, 85. That's a pretty big difference.
Hmm.
So to me, that was worth the trade-off. I feel pretty comfortable, and I don't have any regrets in drafting Nidoqueen over Nidoking, despite people thinking it was a bad decision.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I just looked at Nidoking's page. It gets it via tutor, that's right.
Yeah.
In Oras tutors.
Yep.
In the old days, it didn't get superpower. It was only Nidoqueen. So, sorry about misleading anyone out there. That was a. I'm putting my fourth gen cap on, and I failed. So, alrighty. Certainly, Archeops, man. Defeatist is. How's that going to play a role into your team?
Well, my goal is to knock it into defeatist range. That's actually my strategy for the whole season. I get it. Archeops is a weird pick. I understand. I'm looking at the NU list, and Quagsire's gone, and some of the other Pokemon that was looking at are gone. So it's like, okay, well, my team doesn't have a whole lot of speed. I lack a little bit of speed, and it would be nice to have something that hit pretty hard. So if you look at the NU rankings and just NU usage and that kind of stuff, Archeops is at the top. It's a very, very good NU Pokemon, despite its bad ability. So I get it, right? It's got Defeatist. If it goes below 50%, it's essentially useless. I understand. But the thing's got base 140 attack. It's got base 110 speed, has a wide variety of moves in terms of physical offensive moves. It also has a decent special attack, and it gets some moves like Heat Wave. So to me, it wasn't a bad pick. If it doesn't take a hit, it's going to do all right. I mean, how many times do you see these glass cannons that, can't take it? I mean, if someone's going to draft Mega Beedrill, which I understand Mega Beedrill is going to hit harder than Archeops, but Archeops isn't much worse. I mean, you're still taking 25 from Stealth Rocks. Mega Beedrill is frail as they come. I mean, that thing's dying to, an Ice Shard pretty much from an
Yeah,
Amamo.
pretty much an uninvested Entei extreme speed. Not even stab, just extreme speed. Pretty
Yeah,
much
I
a
mean,
90 something percent chance of a KO, depending on how you EV it.
Yeah, I mean, Beedrill is not very, so to me, it was kind of like it filled a couple different roles for me. It gave me something that was pretty fast. It gave me something that hit pretty hard. And I get it doesn't make that much sense, but based on looking at the draft pool, it made the most sense for me just for getting something that hit pretty hard. And if a team doesn't prepare for Archeops one week, I mean, this thing can run, hit pretty hard. Sky Attack with Power Herb is no joke. Acrobatics is no joke. Heat Wave is no joke, and just having some U-turn, a little bit of Volt switching with Rotom isn't bad. So I felt like it wasn't a bad pick. It is a top threat in NU. Whether that translates well to the GBA or not, we're going to find out. I think I'm probably going to be the first person to ever use Archeops, but
You are. I've been there 3 seasons before. You are.
yeah. So, but again, like I said, I looked at the draft pool for NU. There was nothing that I thought was going to get taken before my other NU picks that I wanted. And I looked at Pokemon like Muck. I looked at Pokemon like Granbull. And I mean, I'm very familiar with NU. That is the only tier I play. So if anyone knows about NU, with all due respect to everyone else, I'm pretty experienced in NU. So it was Archeops or Shedinja. So I went with Archeops.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't go down the shit ninja route, because you know what would happen? Every single Pokemon on the opponent's team would probably run some kind of coverage move to hit shit ninja.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Go for it. Waste that move slot.
I mean, okay.
It's like
maybe
drafting
some.
Slacking, right? You
Oh,
draft Slacking, but everyone runs Protect. So it's like,
yeah, exactly.
no, I wasn't actually going to draft Shedinja, but
Yeah.
I feel good about Archeops. I don't think it's going to be a Pokemon that comes in and sweeps teams every week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it picks up a few kills by the end of the season. Situational.
Okay. So back to your draft. Just in general, how did you feel? What kind of a style were you going for with some of those other picks, especially those later picks, Gorgeist and Klinklang?
So the style I was going for, like I said earlier, is really bulk. I want bulk, and I want Pokemon that can set up and sweep. I think I accomplished both of those, and I wanted a defensive core that was daunting for the opponent to prepare for, and also I wanted Pokemon that were versatile that in many situations you don't know what set they're going to run, and I think Mew, Mega Sableye, Nidoqueen, Slurpuff, and in some cases Rotom all accomplished that. So I know some of them are one-trick ponies, but generally speaking. My team is can run a number of different sets, and I think in the GB that's very important because you can only prepare for so much, right? You can only prepare for for example, Slurpuff to run Belly Drum, but if it's a Calm Mind Slurpuff, and you didn't prepare for that, that could be a big problem. So Slurpuff is very versatile in that sense too. So kind of talking about Kling Klang and Gourgeist. Kling Klang, I get it, right? It's got 3 moves. It's got Return, it's got Wild Charge, it's got Gear Grind, but it also has one of the best setup moves in the game called Shift Gear. And it's got a very good base stat total, aside from maybe its HP, and maybe just as HP. It's got a very good base stat total, and it's a Steel type, which my team lacks. So to me, Klinkling was a good fit, and the reason why is in the GBA, you know what 11 Pokemon your opponent's going to bring. If my opponent doesn't have a resist for those three moves, Steel, Normal, and Electric, then Klinkling all of a sudden is a very viable option. That's not really bad coverage if you think about it. Normal's resisted by rock, but rock's hit super affected by steel. Water resists, steel, but then you have wild charge. So I felt that Kling Klang wasn't that terrible of a pick, based on its typing and based on the fact that it could be a really good setup sweeper. It does hit pretty hard. It's got its best move breaks through subs. It hits twice. So I felt good about Kling Klang. I really feel good about my NU picks. And again, I'm very, very comfortable in the NU tier. Kling Klang is a Pokemon I've used for, a long, long time, and I like what it does. Regarding Gork, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it breaks through bird spam as well.
Exactly. So I mean, it's a resist, so it's pretty good. And Gourgeist, I feel amazing about Gourgeist. I don't know how Gourgeist slipped to the last pick for me because I don't think people realize how good of a defensive wall Gourgeist can be. First of all, the reason why I drafted it is not only because it's a great physical wall with Will-O-Wisp and Ghost typing is always good. It can take knockoffs pretty well despite its typing. But first of all, Gourgeist is the only, if not the only, one of the only grass types that gets fire moves, so that's kind of interesting. But two, and the important part here, is Gourgeist can be run in different sizes. You can run a Gourgeist, the small form that has almost base 100 speed as a subseeder. You could run the super form and be, defensive with a really high HP stat and Will-O-Wisping things, and no one's touching you. You can also run an offensive Gourgeist. I mean, it's got base 100 attack, I think. So I felt like Gourgeist was just, again, kind of touching on that, that versatility in Pokemon, having my opponents not really know what to prepare for. And if I bring Gourgeist, they're going to see, oh, wow, he's got Gourgeist on his team. But they don't know what Gourgeist I'm running until I send it out. And even then, it's still a question mark of what my set is going to be. So it kind of paired nicely with my defensive Pokemon. I didn't have a grass type, so I felt like that was kind of important too. I didn't want to get destroyed by like some big water Pokemon or whatever. And I like Will-O-Wisp quite a bit, if you can't tell from my team. So
Yeah.
Shutting down physical sweepers is my way to go, and Chansey takes care of the rest.
Certainly. I'd like to see Colberberry on it one time. You expect a knockoff, you switch it in, you get your Colberberry, does very little damage, and then all of a sudden knockoffs are only going at 65 base power after that.
Yeah, and you're going to catch a Will-O-Wisp too. So
Yep, there you go.
enjoy it. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun. I love Gourgeist, guys. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Ghost type, and it's my favorite Pokemon from Gen 6. So I had to grab it, especially when it went that late. Again, I made the gamble of going with Chansey and Rotom, and that was a lot of my free points. So it forced me into 3 NU Pokemon, and I picked the ones that I thought were the best with my team. There was a lot of decent NU Pokemon, like I said, Muck, Granbull. I even almost drafted Bouffalant, which I kind of wish I did, but I feel good about Gourgeist and Kling Klang as well. I think they're going to be good Pokemon. I don't think they're going to be the Pokemon that come every week and sweep, but I think situationally they're going to do well. So
That's good. Good that you're feeling good about your draft. So with these, with your thoughts on the draft in mind, what are your expectations for this season? Your season 3 was kind of short-lived, obviously, a little bit of a mixed bag at times, but you definitely had some great moments. You can't doubt that. Do you think that your new start, new team, and new division will push you to be a top contender?
I think one of the things, to answer your question, yes. I do think I'll be a top contender in the GBA this year. because I feel like I have a very good team. I have a balanced team. I have a bulky team, and I have a versatile team, which puts me in a really good situation. I feel good about my season, more for the reason that I've recently quit my job. I do YouTube and Twitch full time now, and my ability to prepare for matches is going to far exceed what I was able to do last season. That's not to take anything away from the people who beat me last season or anything like that, because they played well, they outplayed me. But preparation is everything in the GBA, and having a little bit more time to prepare. And one thing I'm doing this year that's different is I'm using all of these Pokemon beforehand. I've been on Showdown, testing out different sets against the OU ladder and ranking in the OU ladder with these Pokemon that I've never used before. And it's teaching me a little bit about them. I kind of went in the GBA last season, as an NU player only. I didn't play the higher tiers. I had never used half the Pokemon on my team. I didn't even know that Thundurus got superpower or whatever, and I lost a match because of it. I mean, that's like a pretty obvious thing for anyone who plays in the higher tiers. So I think eliminating those mistakes is going to be a big difference maker for me, and I think just my preparation alone is going to increase a lot, and that's going to translate into a more successful season for me. So I'm going into the GBA this season feeling really, really good. Does that mean I'm going to go 12-0? Probably not. There's a lot of good players, and if I go 6-6, I'm not going to be bummed about it. I really respect and hold the talent in this league very, very highly, especially in a division where I'm playing, Tup and Shady twice, and I'm playing Crimson twice, and I'm playing John, and it's going to be a tough schedule. I'm playing, the Rain team. It's a tough schedule, and a lot of good players. So big props to everyone in the league. We got a really good group of guys, but I like my chances. I like my team. I feel confident in my team. I like a lot of things about my draft, and I think this team suits my play style more than kind of what I was pushed into in a way in the expansion draft last season. So I would say if I had to predict my record this year, I'm going to say 8-4. That's my personal goal, 8-4. I think that's a good record. So that's what I'm aiming for. I think I might be shooting a little high, but even though I have a little experience, I'm still kind of a rookie. So we'll see what happens. But I think the preparation is going to really play into account here, and I don't know if there's going to be anyone who can prepare more than me. I'm going to be putting a lot of time into this. I take this very seriously, not because I think the GBA is like the end all be all, but it's a lot of fun, and I like to win. I don't like to lose. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my mentality, thinking about your record there, you're trying to reach for the stars, and the worst thing that happens is maybe you'll hit the moon if you don't do that well. So
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Your goal is set high, and if you fall a little bit short, you're still hitting the moon, so to speak.
Yeah, and again, I can't emphasize enough how good the talent is in the GBA. I mean, everyone is a really good battler. And if they're not the greatest battler, then they're obviously doing something right, right? So I think there's a lot of, I mean, if I go, 1-11, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but that's just in my opinion, a testament to how good everyone else is too. So we'll see. I'm going to try to make a splash this season. I'm going to try to get rid of the shiny hunting stigma that I think sometimes, as much as it benefits me, sometimes it hurts me a little bit. So we'll see if the shiny king over here can pick up some wins. And I'm bringing all shinies in my battles, by the way.
There you go, man. You got your own. You got part of your own identity into this league.
I'll do my best. I'm probably actually not going to do that. I'm probably only going to bring like Sableye shiny and maybe definitely Kling Klang and Gorgeist. I think the rest will all probably not be shiny, but yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know that you're confident. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah, I'm definitely going into every match thinking that I should win, regardless of the matchup, and I think that's a good attitude to have. People can say I'm cocky, whatever you want to say it. I think it's that's just how you got to be. You go into it thinking you're going to lose, which I did last season. I went into almost every match thinking I was going to lose, and I think it cost me a few times. I was very intimidated by a lot of the teams, and I wasn't able to prepare as much as I wanted to, and I was intimidated by a lot of the good battlers, and that's not good. You don't want that. So this season I have definitely a new outlook, and I have a new team, and aDrive Army. I hope to represent for you guys.
So with that in mind, who are you looking forward to playing the most?
Oh my God, this is I gotta say Shady, and so Shady and I have become kind of friends in the last few months, and I got to meet him in person, and he's a really cool guy, and I really have to give a lot of props to him for just for the content he puts out. He's such a tremendous content provider, and he's like I say, he's just a cool guy. So I'd have to say I'm looking forward to most playing Shady. I wish I drafted Boufflant now just because of Shady, because that superior is daunting. But I play him twice this season. It's a nice little friendly rivalry we have, so I would definitely say him. Otherwise, I would say John, just because I kind of regard John as being the best battler or one of the top battlers in the league. with maybe Miguel up there and a few others. I think, John's very good. He's got a very good team. So I play him this season, and that's one of those matches I might throw that week away, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, you can't forget the Gorgeist does take on Superior pretty well.
It does okay. So Shady's gonna have to make a tough decision: HP Rock or HP Fire. So that decision could ruin him if he picks the wrong one.
No, certainly. On that token, who are you least excited to play?
Least excited to play. So let me think about this for a second. I haven't. Oh, I can. That's an easy question. Actually, I don't want to play Geo. So. Gio's got this monstrous rain team that he like secretly drafted before anyone realized what he was doing. My dude drafts Scissor, Ferrothorn. He just like keeps drafting these guys who are like, yo, you got a little bit of a fire weakness there. Drafts Politoed and everyone stops talking because they realized, first of all, oh, I was gonna do that, and second of all, wow, he's about to get a rain team because no one's gonna draft Mega Swampert now. So I was very close to going for a rain team myself. Gio went and got it. Good for him because his team looks pretty powerful right now. I mean, even Moltres is going to do work. I wouldn't be surprised. So I don't want to play him. I don't want to play him just because I know how strong Mega Swampert is. It's not going to want to get burned, but it's still a pretty powerful Pokemon. So we'll see what happens. I wish I had Licky Licky too. That was another one.
If only extended the rosters a couple spots. If only.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
We're flying Licky Licky, but it's okay. It's okay. I didn't draft for my matchups because we obviously didn't know who we were going to play against. I drafted for the team I thought was going to be the best team, but obviously hindsight is 2020 in that regard. I probably would have made a few small adjustments if I knew I was playing Shady twice and I knew I was playing Geo, but it's all good.
No, certainly. Once again, half the battle, being confident, and I think you got it.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that. We'll see if my battling skills are good enough, but the confidence is there.
That is half of the battle. So, all right, we're getting pretty close to the end here. If you had to give just one message, any length, whatever message, to all your Rampardos fans out there before this new season, what would it be?
You guys, we're gonna hang in there as best as we can. We got a good team this season. I'm feeling pretty good about it. And you guys always hit me up on Twitter if you have some crazy sets you want me to try to incorporate. I'll definitely take a look. And let's have some fun. That's what the GBA is about. It's about getting 12 awesome guys and a bunch of awesome content makers. Like you guys, working together to put out some really cool content. And it's ultimately for the viewers. That's why we're doing this, right? It's all about the people who are watching these videos. It's all about that. And, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys root for the St. Louis Rampardos. And I hopefully, we won't let you down. We're going to put in some work this season. We got that defensive core that no one's going to touch. So it'll be a good time.
Alrighty. So I think we're pretty much the end. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to interview me and a couple other people, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to all the other players in the GBA and the writers and everyone who's doing everything for the GBA this season. I think there's a huge change in attitude, like we talked about before, and I think it's very, very good not only for everyone in the GBA and the people working with it, but also the viewers. And I want to thank everyone who supports every video and hit that like button for us and everything like that, shares the videos. Because it fuels us, and we're gonna keep putting out the best content we can do, and I think we're doing that right now, and it's a really cool thing when you get a lot of moving parts kind of coming together, and it works in a good way.
Certainly. Yeah, we've got 33 minutes of solid content here so far, so I think we did pretty well. Actually, this was my longest one.
Yeah, sorry, I talk a lot, guys. I'm very long-winded, but I like to try to articulate my ideas as best as possible.
That's okay.
Hope I didn't bore anyone.
Articulated very well, certainly.
All right, man. Well, I guess that's a wrap. Do you thank you again for having me, man?
No, thanks a lot for taking the time out. I really appreciate it. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, guys. Go check out Dan's channel. His link will be in the description. Subscribe to the GBA channel as well. You're welcome to check out my channel as well. And check out all the GBA channels for the rest of the guys in the league. I think that's just about it. So be sure to rate, comment, subscribe once again. And later, guys.
Peace.